Well, we just saw you out there on the big screen. Was that weird to be shown in the middle of a UFC fight like that?
The FaceTime is too long. We need to cut it in half. It was an honor, but it's a bit awkward, especially I can't talk or anything. I'm just like looking. I don't know. Maybe it takes more experience to be better at that one shot cinematic, post. But it was a great experience, but maybe a little shorter next time.
Yeah, the fighters will do like the punches, but that would feel weird for you, right?
Yeah, maybe I'll toss in like a
Yeah,
a
that's
joke or something.
really
you
funny.
know, I gotta find something. Yeah.
So, I mean, are you excited about the match? Do you get excited still? Is it
Yeah, I definitely get excited to compete. I enjoy it. I enjoy the journey, the process of getting better, of trying to reach my full potential, and yeah, competing just another stepping stone to that. And my upcoming opponent, Nicky versus Michael Pixley. Michael Pixley just submitted a world class black belt. One of my rival team's best competitors, last name Meregali, and Pixley went out there, passed his guard, threw him to the mat twice, and broke him and submitted him in competition. So it's a tough opponent, and I'm really looking forward to going out there and just testing my skills.
for those that kind of follow jiu-jitsu, and I'm not one of them, so if I say this incorrectly, please correct me. But this feels like a CJI versus ADCC match. Is that how you're viewing it?
Oh, I guess that seems pretty correct. But I think UFC Fight Pass, because of their rules, because of how well the production does. I think it's its own thing. So you could say it is a CGI versus ADCC kind of ordeal. But to me, it's just another UFC Fight Pass, which is going to be a great experience and tons of exposure with great people alike.
I know there's a little bit of bad blood between you and Meregali, who you mentioned earlier. Is there bad blood between you and this upcoming opponent, or would you say it's a little different?
Good question. I don't know. I don't really consider anybody in this sport having having bad blood with me. Just because I'm not really an emotional person. So like, if somebody was to hurt my feelings, that means I have feelings. That means I'm vulnerable. So I don't really feel. I just kind of do.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Can you just talk to us, those of us who saw you at CJI, what that experience was like? We talked at backstage, but now that you sort of sunk in, and how does it feel to have won that?
Yeah, so CGI, the Craig Jones Invitational, the highest valued jiu-jitsu competition the world's ever seen, right? A prize of $1 million, and I was the first ever grappler to ever win $1 million in competition. So truly an honor. It's amazing that I was able to kind of stamp my name in the history books of jiu-jitsu. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it feels like any other day. I feel like nowadays $1 million is not that much money, especially after paying taxes. So I'm looking forward to just continuing to compete. This is just the beginning of my career. I'm just getting into my prime years, and I'm really looking forward to just going out there and continue to have fun with it.
Did you buy anything special?
I'm working on buying some land right now. That's what I'm working on, and I have a beef jerky company that I'm in the process of growing. So this piece of land, I plan to build on it and help guide me towards a successful, out of competition money flow.
And last question, I know you had said right after that you put a challenge out to Gordon Ryan. Have you heard back from him about that?
He kind of gave me a blanket statement. Yeah, so after CGI, I bet $1 million against his $1 million, I would beat him in competition. And he kind of came back with like a long, weird post saying that, all right, I'll compete against you if Craig competes against you with me at the same day. And if my stomach doesn't hurt and if it's at my rules and my time limits, it's like, brother, let's just have a match. I mean, my call out was plain, simple, easy to understand. And then he posts this like, it was almost like a breakup text from my girlfriend, like super long, drawn out message with all these like stipulations. It's like, is it? It's kind of a yes. It's kind of a no. I don't really know. My call out was nice and clear, and his rebuttal was not so clear. It's quite foggy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just one more off of that. Like, why do you think Gordon, puts out these statements? Like, he's like, I'm the king. You do what I tell you, and all this kind of stuff. When I think for people that do watch jiu-jitsu, like these are massive matches that could kind of take the sport to the other level, and it just doesn't seem like it's anyone like he doesn't really. He's like the final hurdle to get this done.
Yeah, well, I think he's a bit intimidated by me. You know, like we competed twice when I was a brown belt, and again, we're talking like 3.5, maybe 4 years of jiu-jitsu training. And even back then, I was able to break his foot in competition and force him to tap after the bell via rear naked choke. And now you fast forward maybe 2 or 3 years later, when I have much more experience, much more knowledge under my belt, I'm starting to submit all of my opponents. And now he seems like he's like, oh, like I already did that. I was like, yeah, I wasn't even a black belt though. You know, I was training for 3 or 4 years. I didn't know anything, and now I have a bit more knowledge, and I'd like to test it against a guy like that. But I don't think he sees the risk versus reward benefiting him.
Did you and Craig have like a side message being like, did you read this long-winded text from Gordon? Like, were you guys talking about that?
No, I guess we sent some voice messages. But yeah, I'm just not. If it's more than a sentence or two, like I'm not gonna read it. You know, it's a yes or a no. I'm sure Craig Jones read it. He's not one to banter with. You know what I mean? Like if you wage social media war against Craig Jones, you're gonna lose for sure.
And the last one for me, I think just going back to the Craig Jones Invitational, I think that was, people kind of view that as like this seminal moment in jiu-jitsu. Like, it just, there were more eyes on that because like the story around it, the main event, it was competing against ADCC. Did you see this kind of bump up in interest in just the sport of jiu-jitsu, not just particularly training, but people tuning in to actually watch the sport?
Most definitely. You see like the biggest grappling events in the world, the previous ones would get like 100,000 views, maybe a couple 100,000. You're talking Craig Jones Invitational got 3 million viewers on two days. So and at during the live, I think it was something like 160, 180,000 people tuning in to watch live. That is unheard of in the world of jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I mean the CJI, the Craig Jones Invitational, grew the sport tremendously and continues to grow it. Whenever there's $1 million grand prize, no matter what's happening, people are like, oh, this is life-changing money. I want to tune in and see what's happening.
Did you know you were kind of involved in something historic when it was happening, or did you kind of realize after that, like, oh, people were really into this?
Yeah, definitely after I recognized like what's going on. Just because when I'm competing, I'm kind of in my zone and I don't feel or hear anything. I just see a task at hand, an opponent that needs to be dealt with. But afterwards, it's good to soak it in. It's good to kind of relish for a little bit, but it can't be long-lived, especially if you have higher goals. You kind of just have to put it on the back burner, appreciate the moment while it's there, and then on to the next thing. Good to go?